All right. Recording time, bro.
Watch.
I know. It's the worst time of the day. Kidding. Welcome back, everyone. It is, of course, the Schiller und Vanilla podcast. We are going to review an anime today. It is going to be Future Diary. Yay! Hooray!
Yay. This is obviously a pre-recording because somebody's got medical problems. And you know, we usually after April 11th, depending on when you're watching this, you could be watching in the past, but April 11th, no lives for like 6 weeks, and then after 6 weeks, we'll be back doing twitch.tv/chillvanilla live episodes. Uh, we're on YouTube, obviously. Chill Vanilla Podcast. Anchor.fm/Chill Vanilla has your audio, which has like Spotify, Apple, and a couple other bigger ones. Check us out. The QR code that's sitting there if you're watching on video. Scan it with your phone,
Do
fancy
this
stuff.
shit. Don't worry. It won't take you to any weird, like, German
Allison
dungeon
worked
bestiality or
hard to
some
get that
shit.
thing made.
I did. I worked so hard by asking someone to do it. So there you go.
Hey, work is work.
Work is work, damn it. But yeah, we're gonna go over Future Diary today. It's not a new anime. It came out in the 2010s. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, 2010s. I think it aired in like 2017ish or some shit like that. Anyways, the I'll go over the premise here real quick, and then you can take it from here, good sir. Um,
Oh shit.
the premise of the show is that our main character, who is kind of irritating, uh, uh, is pulled into this basically god game. In short, he has a diary, which is his phone, um, and the diary can come in multiple forms, but the diary grants the user certain abilities, as well as if the user's diary is destroyed, they're killed. They die. They're not only no longer in contention for the god candidate. Basically, they are just dead. We've done a similar premise as far as this formula is concerned in the past with Platinum End. That show was
I,
ass.
dude, I'm glad you said that because I was gonna make that comparison. I was like, as soon as I heard the God game thing, I was
Yep,
like, oh, this is Platinum End all over again.
exactly. It's not as bad as Platinum Men, although it is slightly more confusing at certain points, and our boy Cole will get into that. The
Oh shit.
other main takeaway from the show is that it does the Yandere character, that whole character trope, painfully well. It's incredibly unsettling how scary one of these characters is, and we'll get into that here shortly. But yeah, so God candidacy, whoever wins replaces the current god that's running the god game, and yeah, fuck shittery
That's it.
ensues. Yeah, that's pretty much the
All
whole
kinds of
thing.
bullshit in
It's
between.
yeah, it's basically just a battle royale and
And what?
a
There's
lot of
12 diary
crazy.
keepers in the
Mm-hmm.
game.
Yep,
Yeah.
there's a lot of crazy shit. There's a lot of people that you wouldn't expect to be diary wielders, and they're really fucked up. So yeah, go ahead and take it away, good guy, good sir.
But we always start with animation,
Yeah, well,
and
not always, but yes,
well, almost always.
almost
That's
always.
kind of the formula. But the animation is good. There's no complaints. I mean, they do really good. It it looks like it's got a high budget.
It's a standard
26,
issue.
26 episodes, dude. I binged 26 episodes in 3 days, and I know that's rookie numbers for some of you,
When
but
people
that's a
have
lot for
jobs
me.
and kids, that shit ain't easy.
Yeah.
Where's the time? Yeah, the animation's nice. It's standard. If you watch any anime from a semi-major or major studio from the time period of like 2014 to like 2018, 2019, yeah, 2018, the art's basically the same, so it's not really much to compare against anything from that time frame. Um,
Well, yeah, but I do think it did a good job as far as like creating its atmosphere. Like
yeah,
when they wanted to go dark, it went
they
dark.
went
The
dark.
animation matched it. When they wanted the happy light, they did. it matched the tone they wanted to set for each scene.
Correct.
So overall, I think it was really good.
For anyone that's watching this that's ever seen like Higurashi,
This ain't for kids.
yeah, it's not for kids. If anybody's ever seen anything like Higurashi or anything along those lines of like pretty gory shit, especially when it involves children, um, Corpse Party, I believe, and a couple others, anything along those lines, it's fucked. It can be really, really fucked up at times. A lot of innocent people die. A lot of people that aren't even involved die. They're yeah. Just in case
if you haven't watched it,
yeah.
how old it is, I feel like most people have.
Yeah, at this point, most
you're
people
new to anime like me.
Yeah, then you'll run into the scenario of like, oh damn, okay, maybe I shouldn't have watched this. Just if you started it, you might as well finish it. Enjoy the fucking shit show of a ride that it is. It's insane.
It is not a first anime.
Yeah, I would never. This is not a show that I would recommend to anybody that's just starting to watch anime whatsoever. Did I tell you to watch this, or did Lucas tell you to watch this?
No, this is Lucas's.
This is a Lucas bitch ass. Okay, thanks, Lucas. Yeah, the show itself is pretty traumatizing. Same thing with like Happy Sugar Life. We may review that in the future. I don't know. It's pretty fucked up. But yeah, basically the amount of gore and just the sheer fucking creep factor in some cases of these characters is animated really well. The whenever a character goes into like basically just like murder mode is kind of what it looks like. You can see the depravity on their face where it just like scrunches in these like micro expressions, and they look really well. So the animation is good.
Yeah, they do a good job drawing like the insanity.
Yeah, like what I mean by it's like standard. It's a standard anime like style from that time frame. That's just kind of how it was. There are a lot of anime that came out between those 4-year period where it's just really fucking well. It's both economically drawn, but also when it needs to show emotion, you can tell. Put it that way. So it's not like
there are a lot of scenes where it cuts like to where it's kind of like half drawn.
Exactly.
But,
so it's not. It's a exactly. It's a efficient way of drawing well. Put it that way. Of animating something to look really nice. You can still have all your colors and all your blurs and all your explosions, stuff like that, and it looked really good without going insanely over the top like we do nowadays. But the bar has been so this in comparison to anything from like the past 2 to 3 years. Yeah, this is not the greatest animated show. But if you're looking at it from the lens of this is an anime that was made almost 8 years ago, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's pretty fucking good. So, excuse me. We'll go on to characters because I know you got a lot of words to say on that.
Oh, dude. Well, okay. Credit to the writing and everything. All the characters are written really well.
Yep.
For the story, doesn't mean some of them scare me. So the two main characters, Yuki and Yuno, basically Yuno's obsessed with Yuki, and through the whole show you don't know why exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And Yuno's kind of got like that dual personality where she's like all happy and sweet, and then all of a sudden she goes psycho, would kill anyone to protect Yuki.
Thus the yandere. She's the yandere character.
She scares me.
Yeah, very much so. She is
like honestly really fucking creepy.
Like just seeing the depraved shit that she's capable of, and then she turns around and it's like, "But I love you, Yuki," and it's like, "Hey, no, ma'am, I need you to."
Yeah, I think that's what scares me the most, dude. Like she's so well written as far as like, and so well portrayed in the animation and her dialogue and stuff. Like, dude, she scares the shit out of me. Like she made me uneasy the whole time watching the show because I was like, I don't know what she's going to do.
Correct.
Like she acts like I didn't know if she was going to betray Yuki, like early on, or like I couldn't tell. You never could tell what the hell she was going to do.
I loved how many people. Crazy. I loved how many people warned him, like, "Hey, dog, she's gonna fucking kill you." Like the amount of foreshadowing of like, "Hey, Chief, gonna die. Like she's gonna kill you. You don't get the fuck away from her. She's beyond nuts." Like They even said
Now
they say at one
Yuki,
point
ooh,
they're like her mental state is so incredibly fragile she doesn't remember causing this much devastation when she's younger. And it's like,
yeah,
yo, yeah,
she's well. Now Yuki, on the other hand, Yuki's
standard issue cardboard
he
fucking cutout
upsets
piece of
me.
shit. Like I hate him so much. He makes the dumbest decisions with such a dope ass power.
Well, like
Like
obviously his decisions, like his character, obviously if he was any other character, like his character personality was different, it wouldn't have made the show what it is.
correct.
But at the same time, he pisses me off with how like stupid he is.
He's
Stupid
genuinely
as
dumb.
in like really naive and just gullible. Like he believes and wants to believe everyone's going to be his friend and
You're still good
I
into these
just
people, I
I understand
promise.
he's still a kid, but at the same time, it's hard to watch.
Like
It's
my
hard to watch him be so stupid.
it irritates me because
This is
he's
what they said they were like 14 or 15 or
yeah,
something.
They're like
The
high
Yuno and
schoolers. Yeah.
Yuno and Yuki. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like,
Like,
you
oh,
know, he keeps running into all these people that are trying to fucking kill him, right? They want to kill him, and he's like, I can appease to their humanity. They're they know that they're stuck in a game. They know that people are going to try to kill them. Why the fuck would they just go, oh, well, you're being nice to me, so obviously you don't want to
but
kill me. Like
honestly
the fuck?
though, I get it. It makes sense because if you really think about it, it's in real reality. A lot of people would be like that though. Like not everyone can just go kill someone in reality.
Absolutely
Like
not. But if I
Platinum
know
In's a good
somebody's trying
example.
to, yeah, true. But
The
like,
same thing they did with Platinum In. They some of the characters are just like game or not. I can't do that to
yeah,
somebody
they're like, I'm not doing
because they
that.
have morals.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you just don't have morals.
Oh no, I have plenty. If I'm in a scenario to where I wake up and all of a sudden somebody's trying to fucking start killing me, and then I realize that a bunch of people are trying to start killing me, what's my next option? Not be like, I can appeal to their humanity. No, I can't appeal to their humanity because they've lost it.
Well, you're
Therefore,
also not a child.
this is. I
You're a grown
mean,
adult now, and you realize
I
how
mean,
shitty the world
I'm
is.
thinking of me at like 14, 15. At 14, 15, if I ran into some crazy shit like that, mentally speaking, that would fuck me up. Like I'd just be like, send it, dog, just end it, like end it all. Like
Well, yeah, but that depends. You got to, and not everyone's grows up the same way, so everyone's got different experiences. So he grew up as a little bitch.
He grew up as a little bit.
He's not ready for the real
Oh
world.
shit. Meanwhile, I
But
grew up Nigerian, which is that's who might as well been prison. But yeah, the the story wise, story pacing is kind of weird. Story like shifting and like
okay,
twists
the
and like
pacing's not as bad as Platinum In though.
absolutely not like that. The pacing for Platinum In went from like we have a capitalism is the enemy basically in the first villain, and he's super well written, and then and he actually has like some type of like depth to him as a character. Not much, but enough to be like, okay, I can understand why he's doing the things that he's doing, although I don't like them. And then you have the second villain in that fucking show, and it's stupid as shit. In this, that's not really the case, because there really isn't a second villain, because the second and third villains are just the first villain.
Well, they didn't do the whole like two different shows like Platinum In did it. Like, remember how
Exactly.
we said Platinum In felt
Yeah,
like two
it felt
different
like two
shows in the
completely different
first half,
shows.
second half?
Yeah,
Well, this one at least kept the same concept through the whole thing.
it did. It just got really weird and like space timey, which I say that in the same or in the same breath that I'm talking about a show that has a god battle royale competition. Anyways, but yeah, it went
Exactly.
like
So
we.
it's in the same
It
realm of
makes
things.
sense. Like it's in the same realm of thought as the premise of the show. It's just the execution of that entire sequence of events was just kind of weird. But I do like the film and like entertainment phrasing here. Chekhov's gun, because of the fact that there were like 9,000 people telling Yuki's dumbass that she's gonna fucking kill him, and what does she end up doing?
Spoilers.
Yeah. So
Well,
that
so but see, there's so much wrapped into this show. It's hard to do it in like
it
a
is
short span
difficult to
of
do
time
it
and
in that
explain
there's a lot of
it.
there's a lot of character development, a lot of character just full on like ideology shifts That makes sense. The cop, he's a cop, and then he's like, but then it's like, all cops are kind of a pain in the ass. Uh, but he's like, oh, my diary allows me to predict crime, right? Like, I can
Oh
predict
yeah,
crime, and I know
we
when
didn't
it's gonna
mention that.
happen.
All the
So
diaries have different abilities.
I said that in the summary. So everybody has a
Did you?
different. Everybody
I
has
know
a
you
different
said there's a bunch
ability.
of diaries. I don't know if you mentioned the different abilities.
We're gonna take back. We're not. No, I was kidding. But yeah.
Oh,
So everybody has a different
make
ability.
sure. Gotta make sure.
Um, Yuki's is that he can predict how something will end. Because he can predict the future, which is pretty dope. Hence, future
Of what
diary.
he observes.
Yeah, of what he observes. So again, hence future diary. It's based off of his diary as far as the titular line there. Um, doesn't really have one.
No, Yuno's diary. So Yuno's diary predicts what happens to Yuki.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Hers is like a
Him
love diary
specifically.
for
Yeah,
Yuki.
yeah. It's like an actual diary. Yeah.
So it's
The
only what happens to Yuki and what Yuki's up to and what Yuki's doing. And then there's a bunch of other
there's a
ones
bunch
like
of other ones, but currently, as far as what we're talking about right this moment with the cop, his predicts crime, so he can
as long as there's an
technically
open case.
correct. So he can technically create anything, any scenario he wants, as long as it points to criminals, and he can
Yeah.
manipulate that to his own sheboygan. I do like how the story twisted there and made it to where he ended up becoming the criminal, right? So it's uh it's really interesting how they tie in a lot of the different diaries and how they work for the user. It makes each one unique, with the exception of like Minane, the purple haired chick.
Yeah, the terrorist. Hers was just an
Yeah,
escape route diary.
exactly. It's just an escape route diary. It's kind of shit
He
in
was
the grand
actually a
scheme
good
of
character
things.
though.
She
Over
was, yeah. That's what
really
that's
good.
what I was gonna get to. Is that she's shown to be an absolute shit show of a character by just blowing up random innocents in a school. Yeah,
Yeah, that was shocking at the
yeah.
beginning.
It's like just everybody's just
Like,
chilling that all.
ooh, so this is the
Boom.
kind of show
Oh,
we're doing here.
exactly. It's like, oh, cool. Kids are dying. That's wonderful. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't put it that way, but
It's exactly what it is. It's like, hey, look, there's children over there, and they're getting blown up. Are they a part of this? No. This is part of the
yeah,
thing
if
that I
you
said
have
earlier.
any feelings that would get hurt, don't watch
Yeah,
this show.
don't watch this one because there's children that get
This
blown
is
the fuck up. There are many shows in anime where kids get blown the
well,
fuck
yeah.
up. But yes, with her character, she goes from like just mindlessly blowing shit up and killing to get her way so she can destroy Yuki's diary to actually being somewhat helpful towards the middle of the series and being very helpful at the very end of the series. Like an ally. It was weird. Her shift was kind of jarring to me whenever I initially watched the show, and so like trying to figure out and understand really what her motives were other than survival was kind of a pain in the ass.
Well, honestly though, dude, on that kind of like everyone's motives, like all of the people's character, like I said, all the characters were really well written. Like I liked how everyone was written. Everyone had their own story and their own motivation on why they were trying to survive, why they were trying to become God. Like the detective guy turned on Yuno and Yuki because he found out his son had like cancer or something, so he was trying to become God to save him. And then
Yeah.
that couple, the I and Marco,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, their story made me maybe in the feels a little bit. I kind of felt bad for him at the end because there's him Marco wanting to protect I the whole time and because of what happened in the past,
Yeah.
and so you kind of feel bad for them at the end when they die, and obviously everyone dies. It's a game, Hunger Games kind of style thing.
Yeah.
Everyone ends up dying,
A lot of death.
but like well, and even the like the little she wasn't as big in it. Well, she was a big character, but her character herself wasn't on screen a lot. That I forgot which number she was, but the one with the server diary where she can make the sub diary keepers. I thought that it was the
Yeah.
little orphanage owner.
Yep. Yep.
I thought hers was an interesting one. Like that was a really creative diary where to for the writers to create with like being able to make sub diaries. It added a lot to the story
Yes.
and actually that had a major impact on like a lot of shit that happened when they introduced that.
Yeah,
And
there are a ton of like that's what I mean. Like there are a lot of like unique ways that
it's
they
a really
incorporated the
in-depth show.
diaries. Yeah,
There's a
it's super
lot.
in depth. There's a lot of like sub story that's going on along with the main storyline. Uh, at no point do they like. There's not like competing arcs happening between the sublines or the sub stories and the main story. Thankfully, um, for example, the whole meeting his mom thing, like that wasn't a huge like detraction from the main story, and it kind of segued, if I'm not mistaken, later on into um, the damn kid that had the comic book diary,
Oh yeah,
or the
yeah,
art,
yeah,
yeah, the
yeah.
art book diary with the fucking nerve
That one was
gas.
like,
I was like,
oh,
what?
that was a interesting little arc there. I was like,
Yeah, it
oh
was fucking
shit.
strange. I was like, yo, this kid's fucking wild. Holy shit. I remember the first time I watched this show, I was like, I gotta take a break. Because this fucking kid is psychotic. And he's like 6. Like,
They're
what the
all
fuck?
psychotic shit.
Yeah, but then it's like, hey, these are teenagers. Hey, these are adults. This is a fucking 6-year-old dog. Like,
Well, yeah, and well, and that's the thing is they're all like half of them are kids, and it's like these people are crazy.
yeah,
Like you when Yuki. So I think honestly, dude, obviously there's a lot of the sub characters and the other diary keepers that are really well written characters, but obviously the main things between Yuno and Yuki.
yeah,
I'm calling his name's like Yuki Terror or something,
yeah.
Terror or something, but I'm
Guitar or
calling him
whatever.
Yuki because that's what I can't do. That's stuck in my head where she's like Yuki. I'm
Yeah.
like scary. It's gonna haunt my nightmares for a while. But
Those fucking soulless
well,
eyes.
because like I liked the portion where that Aru guy, the little teenager that's like trying to be an investigator, like
Oh, yeah.
him looking into Yuno's past, because like a lot of the end of the show, a lot of the show really is about why Yuno is the way she is, and like, all right, spoilers again, just in case you didn't hear the first warning and got this far.
If you've gotten this far, like,
Basically,
this.
They found there's like 3 dead bodies in Yuno's house, and 2 of them they know are her parents, and then one of them's they couldn't identify for the longest time. Well, they end up figuring out it's her, and then that's where we get into the whole big twist of basically all the games have already been played once before in the first cycle of time, and now they're in the second cycle of this world, and Yuno is actually the one who won the game the first time,
Yep.
and she came into the future because she became the god for the first world and came into the future to play again to be with Yuki. And basically so she killed herself in the second world.
Yep.
So basically, the Yuno you see all season long is the Yuno from the
The
first
first
world
world.
in time.
That was what I meant earlier when I was like,
Yeah,
that's why
it's like,
she doesn't understand, or the whole process of them figuring out why she doesn't have her memories.
yeah, why she's so fucking crazy because
Yeah,
she's already been
exactly.
through all the whole game of having to kill people and survive,
Yeah.
and honestly, dude, despite what it might, I don't know what everyone thinks about community wise, but I liked the twist. I thought it fit. I think it, like you said, it fit the same realm of where they were going with the story. It's a story about a time god.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it makes sense and it fits and it could be, and it's not just some outlandish thing where they can do it. And I thought it was actually really interesting when that all got revealed.
Yeah.
Is like that she, and so that kind of made it in. The ending was a little chaotic and weird with
The
them trying to
swapping
them going
between the first and the second and the third world, and then back to the
and
second,
then
and
they
then
went to
back.
the
Yeah,
third world and are
it's
trying to
fucking
and
ridiculous.
the end was good though, like because basically the end goal was Yuki was trying to stop Yuno from killing herself in the third world because she was like, well, if I can't have him in the second world,
Second
I'm just
world,
gonna
go to
go
the
to the
third world.
third and start over again. She was basically going on this psycho cycle
Yeah.
of just trying to be with Yuki, and and so it was a good ending as far as like where he was trying to stop her from killing her, and then basically basically because of all the chaos they caused in the third world, they kind of broke the cycle of all the diary keepers' futures.
Mm-hmm.
Because basically, as you change your actions, butterfly effect, things in the future change. So the diaries constantly change. And so I thought that was good as far as them. It kind of put a nice ribbon on it where they kind of break the cycle and explain that they were breaking the cycle. But basically, Yuno ends up killing herself because, to hopefully that doesn't get taken off YouTube.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she
She ends up doing
unallows herself. Yeah, she does the
yeah,
big.
it just to make Yuki happy, and then basically Yuki becomes the god of the second world at the end, but he misses Yuno because they ended up loving each other overall, anyways. it's it's
Dumb as
it's,
shit.
it's chaotic as
Yeah,
hell, but at the same time,
like the ending. The ending to
it
me is just
it
like this
all
ball
fits
of.
together though.
It does for the most part. The ending for me is just like
It fits.
sure, like the ending detracts like 3 points from this bitch, like because
Which ones? Which ones?
too much. There's too much trying to happen at the same time. It's just
It's chaotic, but
like if you don't. So basically, there's a reason why there were at the time that the shit came out. There's a reason why there are like a slew of endings explained videos for her future diary, because to a lot of people it's like the fuck did I just watch, like and it's understandable. It's kind of difficult to track the whole, other than obviously the little time traveling like elf thing. um I can't remember her name to save my life.
oh, I don't know either. I don't care.
We're gonna do what we always do. Google. Let's see.
Well, no, yeah, she's just basically the god's minion, basically.
Murmuru.
The
There
god
you
is
go.
his
Yep.
minion.
Yep. Murmuru. So her also bouncing between the little the different times to sit there and assist in this shit was weird. There was just a whole lot going on there. The the progression of Yuki's character, and then it just, oh yeah, but I do love her despite all the fucking crazy shit and her wanting to kill me kind of thing. Yeah, it's cool.
Well, yeah, but you get
Like
that
I don't.
one. Okay, back to the point of he's a kid, so his emotions, he's not developed yet. So his emotions are like you can get attached to someone easy. You know that like Stockholm syndrome kind of
Despite
thing.
all the murder, but yeah, definitely.
Well,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
but it's
that's
like a
right. And then
Stockholm
he got
syndrome
in,
kind of
on,
thing.
and then at one point he gets in on the murder. You know, like
Well,
not
yeah, he
against
kind of jumped
non-future
off the
diary
cliff when he
people.
shot the cop, and there was
Yeah,
kind of no return
I was
after
like,
that.
what? Okay. And then they all get exonerated despite the copious amounts of fucking cops and regular people that they killed. Never mind that. I'm just
Well,
like,
yeah, okay. I will say the getting away with all the murder thing was a little like iffy, but
yeah,
there were many instances where they did do a they wrote it out decently. Like, well, the whole first half of the show while the detective was on their side,
yeah,
I mean, obviously that's an easy write out as far as
yeah,
like
exactly.
it covers things up for him, but and then a lot of the stuff I think got blamed on Mine, the terrorist girl.
Yeah, meaning it. Yeah,
I think a lot of stuff ended up getting blamed on her
it
throughout the
did for a
series too.
while, and then they
So
made a
that
pact.
was kind of their
So
write off.
yeah, they were like,
So
"Oh, don't look over there. Don't mind that. Don't mind that interaction that's happening back
I mean,
over
it was
there."
iffy, but at the same time, they still wrote it out in a way that made sense because she had been a terrorist on the run like the whole series, and so it
Yeah,
makes sense. Like when shit starts blowing up, they're like, "Oh, the
it's
terrorist
probably the
lady's doing
terrorist
it."
chick. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I I have my issues with the show, of course, but not. It would take too long for me to deal. I would go on a tangent, and I don't want to go
We'd
onto
be
a
here an
very,
hour and a
yeah. We'd
half.
be here like an hour and a half to 2 to 3 hours if I went on a full tangent on the show. Needless to say, the right to keep it succinct, it's okay. It's if if you watch anime, if you're a beginner, I wouldn't recommend it. It might put you off to a lot of other anime with similar like battle royale styles. Um, if you are, although a lot of them are kind of fucked up like that. If you are an intermediate, you've been watching anime pretty regularly for like a couple years,
Tiptoe cautiously.
Yeah, it's I would say sure, give it a shot. If you get to the point where you're like, I can't handle this shit, hey, dip on out, hit that escape hatch, which is the nice exit button for the window, and you're good to go. Or for the app, whichever you're
A lot of
watching on.
sensitive topics that
Very
not
much
gonna
so. A
so
lot of things that might be a little triggering for some
forewarning.
people. Uh,
Not gonna name everything, but
yeah, definitely not. Hey, if this video isn't already going to be suppressed to fucking hell because we said killed like I don't know how many times.
yeah, it's hard.
Yeah,
Well, it's hard to talk about it without saying it.
it really is because there's a lot of that happens. So, but yeah,
Well, it's okay. We're
the
not monetized anyway, so
true. The notion that this is a show that's easy to get into um, doesn't exist. If you're somebody, shit, if really at all levels of anime experience, so like just watching anime in general, like reading manga, if you get to this shit, you read the manga and or watch the anime, kudos. Like, if you make it all the way through, hey, you're a trooper. Cause man, it's kind of fucked. But yeah, I'll go ahead and wrap things up here. I'd say this show for me is it's okay. It's something that whenever I watched it initially was definitely in shock and awe of holy fuck that was a something. That was a lot of death, a lot of murder. I think after watching that, oh no, I was tricked into watching this by my buddy Sloan after he tricked me into watching Higurashi no Naku Koroni, which is just when they cry. The fucking
wow, you said like a lad, like a professional.
I've been trying. Um,
Professional weeb over here.
of course. But yeah, I watched that shit, and that was uh, I bamboo shoots under fingernails. That's all I gotta say. So that's probably one of the worst parts of the entire show. And it's like the least gory part of the entire show. But yeah, I digress. The story overall for this is okay. It's easy to follow until you get towards the end, and then it gets kind of confusing if you're
Okay,
not
good
if
to
you're not
hear.
like duh, if you're not just paying like super close attention. Um, the characters themselves, there are some pretty good characters in here. I like the cop's character; he was very interesting. Minane the terrorist, she was a pretty dope character overall. Really fucked up with the whole, hey, let's blow up a school thing, but repeatedly and a hospital. Yeah, a school and a hospital. She does zero fuck. She's just like boom boom bitch. Yuki hate him as a character. The freaky fucking psychopath kid with the nerve gas in the house. Hey, chef's kiss to depravity, cause holy shit, that's a combination of things that I would never that like. I just think like, what the fuck did they do in the writing room? They're like, whether it's a manga or whatever, or they're like, hey, what if 6-year-old coloring book diary? Huh? You see where I'm going with this? No, nerve gas. Oh, that's where I still don't understand where you're going with this. Look, that's pretty much how I would be if I was in that fucking like brainstorming session. Because what the fuck?
What? Bro, are you okay?
You okay, Doug?
I don't know
I
if
haven't
any
slept in
other waggers
weeks.
are
Like,
okay for this show.
I'm telling you, man. Like whew, some of those fucking
Well,
scenarios
what's
are just
that? What's that
fucked.
overall rating?
Uh,
Let me hear this one.
with with everything that the show provides and show gives, and it just nurtures my what the fuck in my brain. I'm gonna give it a good 7. It's definitely an above average show. Um, like I said, it loses points for that fucking weird ass ending and the stupidity of Yuki. I cannot relate with this character. I never could. The entire show I could not relate with him, and that's why I'm not a fan of him. This is character Does his character grow instead of being like a the entire show? Absolutely. Not by much, but definitely he has some story or some character development. Not to the extent of or Minane or the cop. whatsoever. Like, but it's there, so it's kind of salvaged. If you would have stayed that same fucking the whole fucking time, I'd have been like, we're done here. I'd have shut that bitch
Well, he
off
went
after
through
like 4 episodes.
spurts though. He kind of like even at the end, he went through spurts of like, all right, let's kick ass, and then to
Yeah,
back to
yeah, back to the
roller coaster again.
yeah. So that's
All right,
that's what I'm gonna give it. It's a solid.
7.
It's worth a watch. It's a solid 7.
I honestly, with how much shit you were talking, I thought you were gonna go lower, but
I can be
all
critical
right.
but fair. Okay.
Yes, good show. I liked the story. I thought the story was fine, unlike some people. The characters were really good. I felt for like most of them. Like I felt really bad. Like when people were dying, I was like, "Well, shit! I was hoping that wasn't gonna happen." Like even some of the non-diary keeper characters they put in.
Yeah.
Animation was good. Like I said, they did a good job fitting the atmospheres when they needed to. Story, I liked the twist. I liked the twist. I'm gonna look what you have to say.
The twist
I
was
thought it was
fine.
good.
The execution
It
at
was
the end was
interesting.
ass. Like the twist was
The
dope.
execution at the end was a little chaotic, but at the same
Yeah.
time, when you're jumping through time and space, it's kind of hard not to get a little out there.
Oh, don't worry, because if anybody has gotten this far and they're gonna listen or they're gonna hear what I have to say next about time traveling anime, they're gonna be like, absolutely. You think time traveling shit, especially at the end there, was kind of cool? Watch Steins Gate. The entire show is about time traveling.
All right, well, maybe a later episode.
Oh, 100%, because that show is definitely worth a review.
So the main thing I would knock points for is all the like unnecessary no clothes, as I'll put
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That is my biggest complaint with the show. There's not really much else to say about it, so I kind of just waited for the summary. It's they could have done a lot of the psycho weird shit still without all that bull crap. And so that knocks points for me. And then the only other thing is maybe like half a point for like Yuko being half a crybaby half the time. Those are my big like because you know how I feel about those crybaby characters. They're not
Yes.
my favorite,
At all.
but at the same time, like I said earlier, it was almost necessary. Otherwise, he'd have been too OP.
Yeah, especially with the diary power, like for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
So
the
yeah.
the like you said, I mean, it's not really much to talk about as far as that's concerned, other than it's incredibly uncomfortable, um, and
I'm gonna give it a
unnecessary.
straight 8 out of 10.
Ah,
8 out of 10.
nice. Give it an 8.
Yeah,
Damn.
it's
Okay.
not. It's well, see, because I like the characters a lot. It drew a lot of emotion out of me. Like, dude, like I said, I was legit uneased by and then a lot of the other characters I felt for a lot as far as their arcs and their backstories. So that bumps a lot of points and kind of counters some of the other stuff. So yeah, a point each. A
I'm
point for the Crybaby, a point for the. Usually I deduct like 2 points for Crybaby, but because it was kind of
it was
necessary for the
balanced out.
story almost,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
balanced it back to just a 1 point knock and then 1 point for the unnecessary. It's not even like fan service. It's just being ecchi with the no clothes to be ecchi
Yeah.
almost,
It's
just to make the
it's
show
it's
ecchi.
something to.
But
It's supposed to
still a good
link.
story.
It's supposed to link the characters to, or to link the scenario to the characters' depravity and psychosis. That they don't give a
Well,
fuck
yeah, but there was a
about
lot
that.
of
About
scenes that had nothing to do with that.
exactly, and that was the issue that I had as well. It's like, come on, man.
Like they had Minane just sitting in a room with no clothes on, like
Correct.
showing everything. It's like that she's on the computer doing investigation. Like there's no reason for that shit.
Yeah, it's one of
So
those
there
like
was a lot in there that was not necessary.
completely unnecessary. It was just kind of like an artist's delight, basically, and I hate that.
But I like the story enough it counters.
It's one of those like we
It
can.
probably honestly, dude, if it didn't have like that in it, like if it just did it without all the nudity and stuff,
The
it'd
unnecessary
probably be
shit.
like a
Yeah.
9.5 out of 10 or for me.
Yeah.
If it didn't have that,
Yeah.
it would
I
have
mean,
bumped it way up
it's a good show
because
for sure.
I liked it.
Yeah, it's a good one for sure. It's like I said, it's worth a watch if you can stomach a lot of gore,
Yeah,
then for sure, 100%.
It's a big mind game show. If you like
Yeah,
the mind game shows,
if you like
that's
the
what
mind game
really it
shit,
is.
if you like battle royales, if you like any of that, any of those concepts and formulas, by all means, give it a watch. Like I said, 7. You go to 8, and we're gonna get out this bitch. Pluggables.
Oh yes. Since this ain't gonna be on Twitch after like 6 weeks after April 11th, you do the math. I don't feel like doing it.
Fuck that.
We'll be back live on Twitch every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Twitch.tv/ChillVanilla5. Obviously, we're on YouTube, Chill Vanilla Podcast, and Anchor.fm/ChillVanilla5 for all the audio versions. Spotify, you can even probably look it up directly on Spotify, but Anchor will be an easy link. And then we got the QR code if you're watching on video that gives you to kind of the socials and all of those links I just mentioned. So
Hell yeah.
check us out.
Yeah, on that note, we're gonna head out and we will catch you all in the next one. Peace out.
Later.